Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Play Branson, where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. My name's Chris Meyer. I'm going to be your host for today. And on today's show, we have Keith Allynn with a Neil Diamond tribute, a longtime Branson entertainer. He's been here for years. He went away for a while and has now come back. And so first time on the show, so we're excited to talk to him. I do want to give you a little bit of Neil Diamond trivia. Since we're going to be probably talking a little bit about Neil Diamond today. Did you know that Neil Diamond sold over 100 million records? That is a lot of records. He had 10 number one hits, and he had 38 top 10 hits. And in 1984, he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. And then in 2011, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So I think a lot of people would say that Neil Diamond is a living legend in the music industry. And we're going to talk to Keith Allynn about his show that gives tribute to Neil Diamond. So we'll be back in just a minute.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. And here today on Play Branson for the first time, I have Keith Allynn with a Neil Diamond tribute. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So you've been in Branson here for a long time, but you were here for a long time, went away, kind of came back, but you've got a long history in performing. And so kind of talk about your history and how you got where you are.
Well, I'm from Virginia, and I grew up there. I was born in Roanoke, and I grew up in a little town about 20 miles north of Roanoke that would make Mayberry look like a metropolis. But I grew up there, went to school there, and then I joined the military. And when I was in the military is kind of when I fell in love with singing. Before I went in the military, I was doing stand-up comedy professionally, and worked my way through college doing that. Found out after I got through college that I can't get a job without experience, and I can't get experience without a job, so I joined the military.
Yeah.
That sent me around the world a couple times, and spent a lot of time out west, and I got introduced to karaoke, and I just fell in love with singing. And so when I came back out of the military, I went back to Virginia, started a karaoke company, and I did that for about 10 or 12 years until I realized that a karaoke host basically hands a microphone to somebody who has no business with a microphone. So I thought, why can't I do this on my own? So I sold my company and I moved to Branson, and that was 2003, so I was 19 years ago.
Wow.
And at the time, I knew nobody wanted to come out and see Keith Allynn. Nobody knew who Keith Allynn was. So I wanted to do a tribute to someone who people admired and respected, and I had my sights set on Elvis. In my opinion, everybody in North America that thinks they can sing Elvis, so that was me. Did pretty good. I just don't look like Elvis, and I met the woman that would become my wife when I moved here. She was actually the first person I talked to when I moved to town, and we got together, and she told me that Elvis was probably not the pinnacle of my career. So she told me I looked a lot more like Neil Diamond, and I needed to do something like that. So after poking and prodding me for about 5 or 6 years, she finally got me to do a tribute to Neil Diamond. We started on Center Stage in Branson at the Branson Mall. It's not even there anymore.
Right.
Thanks to the tornado in 2012, it just took out everything in the mall. So we started there. We moved to the Star Theater. Everything kept building up, and then we went to Jim Stafford's for a while, and then we had our own theater downtown. It was Branson's first theater. It was the Owen Theater.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we were there for about 4 years, and then we decided to go on the road for a couple of years, just do road stuff. And we did that, and then we decided to come back. 2020, right when COVID hit.
Yeah.
So we made a deal to go over into the God and Country Theater, and we got our band that had been working with us off and on. We got them to come with us, and so we now this year have an 11-piece band.
Wow.
And we're doing the tribute and doing really good. We're Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay. And we're going to talk more about the show, but I do want to go way back because you talked about doing stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. And that's totally different than, of course, singing. But I like when I was doing some of my research, it said you had opened up for people like Robin Williams, Chris Rock, and Tim Allen, and some of those folks.
I fortunately fell into I was 14 years old, and I went to a local comedy club that would allow people in on like Wednesday night for an open mic night, and I went there, and some friends of mine goaded me to get up on stage and do some of my impressions and things. And so I got up on stage. It was a friend of mine's birthday, and the owner of the club, Jimmy Butler, he approached me after I got off stage, and he said, "How old are you?" And I told him I was 14. Well, I was a pretty tall kid, big kid for my age. At that time, I had spent most of my life being short, and then all of a sudden that summer I had grown 9 inches. You know, so
wow,
I was like,
that's crazy.
So I was like 5'11", 6 feet, and he said, "I can sell you." And I said, "What?" He said, "I can sell you." And I'm, vaguely thinking, slavery's illegal. But I said, "What do you mean?" And he says, "Well, a 21, 22-year-old that's funny and doesn't mind getting up in front of people and making people laugh is a dime a dozen. But a 14-year-old that can do what you do, worth its weight in gold." And I said, "Well, let's see what you can do." And so I signed on with him, and within 2 weeks I was performing at the Vic Theater in Chicago, opening up for George Wallace's HBO One Night Stand. Now, I didn't get on HBO, but I was a crowd warmer, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
And had a lot of fun doing that. I spent probably 3 or 4 months working with the Vic in Chicago, and then I was caught the eye of one of Tim Allen's producers, agent, something like that. And he asked me if I wanted to go on the road. Now, when I say I went on the road with Tim Allen, that really doesn't mean you get in his bus and you go on the road like that. I kind of wish it does that. But they just tell you where the engagements are. They make all the arrangements and everything, and you meet them at the engagements. But I basically toured around with him for about 15, 16 months. Yeah. And thanks to working with him, I got to open for Chris Rock and for Dave Chappelle, Sherman Hemsley.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the stuff I don't think if someone goes to your show, they probably don't know.
No.
And these are the stories I love to hear because, typically Branson entertainers have done a lot, and you don't know everything they've done when you see them on stage. And, of course, Chris Rock has been in the headlines quite a lot lately since Will Smith slapped him. So it's just interesting. But I think that's like you're cutting, for lack of a better word, you're kind of cutting your teeth in the business and learning and getting out there, and it's not always easy.
No, it's not always easy. Yeah, and I'm a rare case. I mean, there are comedians that dig and dig and dig and dig and don't really go anywhere. They'll stay at their local comedy clubs, and they'll make enough to support themselves or live paycheck to paycheck, hand to mouth, whatever you want to call it. And they're just as good as some of these people that actually make it. They just don't get the breaks. And I actually I got the breaks at that point. And when I say I open for these people, it's not like if they did something on HBO or Cinemax or even the Comedy Central that I actually appeared on there with them. I really didn't. I was more of a crowd warmer.
Right.
People would come in. I was doing my shtick in front of the people that were coming in and making them comfortable as they were coming in and picking on them and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that worked pretty good because when I went over to singing, I just kind of melded those two together. I was an impressionist. I did voices and things like that. And when I started singing, I just carried my impressions over to singing.
Yep.
And
Okay, that's a great place to stop. We're going to be right back in just a second with more with Keith Allynn. Hang tight. Hey folks, welcome back to the show. We are here in the second segment with Keith Allynn. Keith, you did the comedy, you came to Branson. Was it kind of on a whim, like you're like, hey, I'm going to go and open a show in Branson? Was it kind of like that?
Well, kind of. I was into Elvis competitions, and I did competitions. They're actually all over the country. And I had heard tell that there was going to be a competition here in Branson. It was called All Shook Up in Branson, and it was put on by just some people over in Forsyth. But they had came over here to Branson and put it on at the Lodge of the Ozarks. And so I came here in 2002 on Labor Day weekend, and I won the competition.
Congratulations.
And, well, thank you.
Yeah.
There was, I think, 23 or 25 of us getting together. And I took first place in that one. And the lady who was running it approached me and said, you'd be a good fit for Branson. We could probably get you here and we could get you a show and get on. So I went back home, and for 6 months, 5 or 6 months, I just toiled over the idea of actually picking up stakes and actually moving out to Branson without a net, basically.
Right.
Finally, I decided I'm going to do it. She was going to run another competition on Memorial Day weekend of 2003. And about a week before that, I came here, looked around for a house to rent or to buy or whatever. Put the money down, went back home, finished selling my business, and came up here on Memorial Day weekend. So when I came for the competition, I came with a U-Haul.
Wow.
And
that's a neat story. And so today you have this show that is a Neil Diamond tribute. Mm-hmm. So tell people about that show. Like if they've never seen the show, what can they expect? Give us the rundown of the show.
Well, the show is basically the story it's not only the story of Neil Diamond, because I thought it was a great idea to tell the story of Neil's life through his songs. But I also interweave my story of coming here to Branson and basically getting left out to dry with the Elvis and moving into the Neil Diamond. I had several shows. I had a show called Curtain Call, which was a tribute to Elvis. And then I had a show, it was called Allynn Unhinged, and it was more my impressions and things like that. All the while, my wife was trying to tell me, you need to do Neil Diamond, you need to do Neil Diamond. And I wasn't too settled on the fact that I was a decent Neil Diamond. And then after the second flop, I should say, of a show, she got me convinced, and I went ahead and put together this thing for Center Stage. Well, Center Stage was something that it was a free show. You worked for CD sales, and you worked for tips, and you did a 45-minute show. And we did it every day, 4 or 5 days a week, Monday through Thursday or Friday. And you got to cut your teeth on something that you wanted to do. So I'm putting a show together, not realizing that I'm putting a show together, but I'm actually putting a show together. And we were approached by the mall manager, the guy that owned the mall. And he asked me if I wanted to put that show into the theater in the back of the mall. And we said that'd be great. So we kind of built our own theater. We called it the Hall of Fame, and it was put into one of the outlet malls.
Yeah, I remember that theater.
So we built it. Me and the owner of the mall, we actually went in there. We painted the ceiling black. We put the stage in there. We hang the curtains. We put the chairs in there. It was 99 seats that we had in there. And so the very next year, we put our show in there, and I added quite a bit to my 45-minute show, and that's where we started. And after about the second year, we were some days trying to put 130 people into our 99 seats, and the fire marshal said, "You got to find bigger digs."
That's a good problem to have.
So we went to the Star Theater. We had 259 seats there, and we stayed there. We were there for 1 year, and the Jim Stafford people, Ann Stafford, approached us and asked us if we wanted to come to Jim's. So we became the morning show at Jim's. And so then we had 936 seats to put our 130 people in. And so we did that for a couple of years. And then, of course, Jim Stafford kind of lost the theater, and it shut down for a year. And so we had a 3-year contract, but we couldn't finish. So we went downtown, and we acquired that theater, and we were there for 4 years. And that was right at 200 seats, 206. And it was a good size. For a tribute, it was a really good size.
Yeah, and so now you're at God and Country Theater. You're there 2 mornings, and so that allows you to go back on the road as well? Is that right?
It does. We do Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do the morning show. My wife actually has a show, tribute to Karen Carpenter, and she does 2 o'clock. So I do 10, she does 2. We do Tuesday and Thursday, and then after her show at like 5 o'clock, I'm free, and I can actually, we can go on the road. We got the weekend, and make sure I'm back on Tuesday.
Yeah. So that's kind of I think that's a neat opportunity, because once you have a full schedule, you can't go on the road, where now at least you can.
And having less shows is actually a good thing for shows. Believe it or not, a lot of people think, well, the more shows, the more money you make. I wouldn't say that we were really in it for the money. I enjoy what I do. My wife enjoys what she does. I love the connection with the audience and connection with the people, and I like being in front of people. But if you were going to have, let's say, out of all the tourists that were in town in a week, let's say there's 1 million. I don't know that there is, but let's say that there's 1 million.
Yeah.
And you offer them 5 shows, and you're going to have, if you're going to have 2,000 people come to your show, out of those 1 million, you're going to have 2,000 people come to your show, because it's a niche. They have to be Neil Diamond fans, or they won't come to your show. You can offer them 5 shows, which average 200 people a show, or you can offer them 2, and if those same 1,000 people come to your show, then hopefully you'll get 500 people at each show. So you get more people in there.
Yeah. So, are you doing anything besides Neil Diamond in the show?
Well, I did do Elvis for 14 years, so a lot of people want to hear me do an Elvis song. So I do an Elvis song toward the end of the show.
Okay.
Just one.
Yeah. And so you have a live band, and you said 11 pieces.
11 pieces.
So that's pretty cool.
I have a big. I have 4 people that do my percussion. So we have a drummer, and then we have congas and bongos and timbales and rototoms and chimes and everything else. We want to have the feeling of a Neil Diamond concert live, rather than having everything on being synthesized and stuff like that.
Now, I have a note here that says you were one of a handful of Neil Diamond tribute artists in the world to be featured in the documentary entitled Diamond Mountain. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, Diamond Mountain was a movie. Basically, it was about Neil Diamond tribute artists. And it came out in 2014, or 15. It came out in 2015. We filmed it in 14 down at the Owen Theater. And there was 13 of us. and they were handpicked by the producers. We were told that of all the Neil Diamond tribute artists, and this is in the world, because there was a tribute artist in some way, shape, or form from all 7 continents.
Wow.
So, well, maybe not Antarctica. Most of the continents. But from all over the world, from all different countries and everything. We had a guy from Ireland, we had a guy from Australia, and a guy from England, and then a couple from Canada, and then down here in the United States, we even had a guy from South America was in there. And Carlos Picasso. He's actually pretty cool. And we were told we were the best in the world, so I just took them at what they told me. So
that's exciting. So, in doing some of my research, I did just learn that Neil Diamond's songwriting catalog was picked up by Universal Music Group, and they said that the acquisition included 110 unreleased tracks in an unreleased album. And so it will be interesting to see what they do in the future with maybe releasing some of those songs, because obviously, Neil Diamond has kind of retired. He's got Parkinson's disease, I guess. And so there could be some treasures in all those unreleased songs.
There really could be.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Folks, if you want to go see one of the best Neil Diamond tribute artists in the entire world, go see Keith Allynn over at the God and Country Theater. That's on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 o'clock. Thanks for being on the show today.
You're very welcome.
So, we'll be back in just a minute to wrap the show up.
There are so many things to do in Branson. You need help planning and booking all your fun. You need iBranson.com. You can find everything Branson has to offer from your computer, tablet, or cell phone. You can even buy tickets online or talk to one of their friendly Branson travel specialists. There's no sales pitches, no delivery fees, no service fees, and no waiting. It's fast and easy. Find your fun at iBranson.com. Do it all online or call 877-ENTERTAIN. That's 877-368-3782. iBranson.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. We're wrapping it up today. We want to thank Keith Allynn for coming. Be sure to go check him out at God and Country Theater. He does shows Tuesday and Thursdays typically at 10 o'clock. So you'll want to double check the schedule, but typically it's Tuesday and Thursdays at 10. You'll want to go see his show there. Next week, I have Dan Embry and Dana Embry with the Whodunit Funny Farm out at Shepherd of the Hills. And so we are looking forward to talking to them. That'll be the first time they have been on the show. Just some upcoming events we want to highlight. Typically the events that we highlight are limited engagements or one-time events. We have shows obviously that go on all year. They're here all the time. But these are special events. So coming up in just a couple days on April 16th, Terry Bradshaw will be back in town. He's got a show over at the Clay Cooper Theater. He's going to do a couple dates in May and also one in June. We also have Neil McCoy on April 17th at 2:30, and then on the 18th at 7:30 also over at the Clay Cooper Theater. So if you don't have any plans, you might go check them out. If you need help planning your entire Branson vacation, or you want to see a show schedule or an attraction, you need to go check out iBranson.com. You can see all the show schedules there. You can purchase your shows all in one spot. You can do that online, or you can call them at 877-ENTERTAIN, and you'll get a local person that can help you plan your entire Branson vacation. That's shows, attractions, lodging, and sometimes they even have dining vouchers that save you on dining. So check out the folks at iBranson.com. They can help you out. Be sure to like us on Facebook if you haven't done that. Tell your friends, keep watching, and we appreciate it. Have a great day.